Welcome to Books and Besties, the virtual book fair. Share this link with others and get ready for something awesome. Books and Besties, the virtual book fair.
Welcome to the show, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's me, the Queen Bee, Dr. Angie BEE, and this is the day the Lord has made. And so I'm smiling, I'm rejoicing, and I'm glad about it. Welcome to today's episode of Books and Besties. This is the show where one of my besties and I get a chance to chat with authors, ministry leaders, community leaders, and you. So we're thrilled to be here for you on this Saturday. So very special shout out to DJ Shaheen. He creates the background music that you hear. And so shout out to you, Shaheen. And before we bring in my bestie, I'd like to make a couple of special announcements and then she'll talk to us more about that. But, you know, my bestie is a retired nurse and she has books out that talk about nursing. Well, her latest book has a story that I was able to contribute from a patient's point of view. And so the new book is out, Still I Care, Nurses Rising After Bullying, and it is now available on Amazon. So I encourage each of you to go grab a copy of the book. I tell you, bullying should never be accepted in any industry. But when it comes to the medical profession, I don't want somebody that's supposed to be taking care of me that has been bullied, because that affects you in so many different ways. So Still I Care, Nurses Rising After Bullying. I'm excited to be in Avalon's latest project. So Avalon, it's time for me to bring you into the show. Good morning. Good morning, dear.
Good morning.
Good morning. I'm excited. Still I Care.
Yes.
That's a good title for a book. It really is.
Thank you.
Tell us about some of the stories that are in the book.
Well, because I have been reading a lot about nurse bullying, and I've been through it myself for years of nursing, but you know, I was a strong nurse. But it's something that shouldn't happen, but it happens all the time. Mm-hmm. And I kept reading about it. Now they're calling it nurse bullying. You know, when I was going through all this stuff, they didn't have a title for it. But now that, you know, I'm reading about it, I decided, okay, let me get some nurses together who would be willing to tell their story. Because sometimes, you know, when you're talking about your experience, you know, you people think it's just you maybe complaining or something like that. Right, but these things are actually happening. You have your new nurses coming in and your seasoned nurses talking down to them because maybe they're so busy, they don't have patience. So they don't think about how it was when they came into nursing as a new nurse. And they, you know, talk down to these nurses, or they yell at the nurses, or, you know, even if you're a seasoned nurse, you may go through it if you go into a different specialty or something, and then you have someone that's been in that specialty longer than you, even though maybe you have 10 or more years of experience, they feel like, okay, you know, they don't want to share their knowledge with you. You know, they're too busy. So it's just a lot of different things. And then you have management. You know, sometimes if you're not part of the clique, management, you know, find different ways to antagonize you, or they feel like they need to reprimand you in front of your coworkers or something. Like, it's all types of things that's going on besides nurses being too busy and the patient load so heavy that's causing them to say, like, I don't want to work here no more, I'm quitting. You know, my daughter's friend, her daughter started as a new nurse. And she said the girl was coming home crying every day because of maybe the way somebody talked to them or something. This just shouldn't be. This is not what you come to work for, you know. And like Angie said, she don't want to be a patient and somebody come in if you've been reprimanded or you're feeling like that, you're not putting your all in when you're going to take care of the patient. You're going to do what you got to do.
Mhm.
The patient will notice your attitude is not where they would like for it to be. You're not coming in warm and friendly because
Right,
of somebody done aggravated you for
right,
no reason
right,
before you go in to see that patient. So I decided get a couple of nurses to put in their stories and I also have mine in to put in a couple of different experiences that they went through and tell their story in this book. Maybe it'll help someone else.
right, right. Maybe it'll help somebody else. I got you. I got you. And I'm thrilled to have been able to share my story. Thank you. Thank you. Because,
Yes, thank you for
um,
putting your
yeah,
story in. Yes.
yeah. And I tell you, bullying with nurses. Well, I know that you and I have been working together on a couple of projects,
Yes.
and you've got independent projects out as well. But I want to talk a little bit about the next project that we're working on together. The name of the book is going to be I've Had Wives and I've Had Friends. This is going to be an anthology that women are going to want to read, with stories written by men, especially the men that we're trying to love. So we're inviting gentlemen to become an author in this project by sharing their story. You can submit your bio, headshot, and your story, and we will invoice you for the fee. You can send it to author Avalon Brown 165 at yahoo.com, or you can send it to Angie BEE Productions, ANGIEBEE Productions at gmail.com. The reason we want to bring this book is because there are a lot of people, women out there, that are either in relationships that are challenging or just left a relationship that was challenging.
Before the
And, there's really
fee,
no
you can send
there's
it to
really no book for relationships, but maybe this one can be helpful as a handbook, so that when relationships are struggling, you have something to go to. So I've had wives and I've had friends. It's going to be a new anthology produced by Angie BEE Productions, me, and Avalon, and we truly would love to have folks join us, have men join us in this project. Okay, so Paul is ready to come on. Do you have his bio handy, Avalon?
Yes, I do.
All right.
Okay, Paul is a nationally certified school psychologist and an award winning author specializing in character education and certified in the new field of social emotional learning. His
Hmm.
latest middle grade mystery, the Central Park Irregulars, which follows a young group of friends caught up in an investigation in the famous park and who uses its noble landmarks to solve a crime, rem- rem- remnants of adult author Dan Brown, who incorporates international sites such as the Louvre and the Vatican in his best selling novel. He hopes his young readers come away from his story with a sense of adventure that stays with them long after the book is closed.
Oh,
Paul's
wonderful.
previous work includes Young Serrano, an Amazon best praised by readers' favorite and the Essentials, a 2024 International Impact Book Award winner. He is also a PRIA Global Award recipient and listed in Marcus Who's Who in America.
Hmm.
Beyond writing, Paul's diverse achievements spans into teaching, journalism, martial arts, coaching, and community leadership. Let's welcome
Hmm.
Paul.
Thank you. I am so excited to be here.
Thank you for joining us.
Yes.
I'm excited to hear about this. sometimes people that aren't near Central Park, we only know what we've heard about it.
Mhm.
So this is going to be impressive. Tell us about the book.
And that was the beginning of my journey. I had only heard about the park when I was younger, and my wife and I have a friend who is a Broadway actor and singer, and we went up to see him one time, and he said, "Let's go to Central Park," and I said, "Great! I've never been there before," and we actually fell in love with Central Park. And as we're walking around, he said, "You know, before this park was here, um, there used to be the first African American freeman community called Seneca Village up there." And I said, "I didn't know that. That's amazing. I would love to incorporate that into a book one time." I started doing copious research about Central Park. It is one of the most iconic places in the world, where so many movies have been used that as a location shot. There's even a castle there. And I said, "This is terrific. I've got to work this into a book." And this is the first time I've ever done a middle grade mystery. I have done several books in the past that were successful. Young Cyrano, the Essentials, which is my superhero book, and those have all been geared towards young adults. And I do a lot of book fairs and things like that. One of the most famous ones is Collingswood Book Festival in New Jersey. And I was at my table, and a young girl came up to me and she said, "Why don't you ever write books, for kids like me?" And I said, "Well, how old are you?" And she said, "I'm in like fourth grade." I said, "All right, you got it. Give me a year to do it." And I said, "What kind of books do you like?" She goes, "I like mysteries." And doing my research, I found out that most middle grade kids love mystery. So I decided that I needed to write a mystery for this girl, and I needed to make the location Central Park.
Wow. I'm here in New Jersey. I've never been to Central Park. I'm right here in Newark.
It's a fantastic place.
Wow. Tell me about your first book. What made you write it, and how have you found the strength to continue writing?
Well, it's an interesting story because of a inherited disease I have. I make a lot of kidney stones. At least I did when I was younger, before I had an operation. So there was one summer, I was working as a school psychologist, and I had the summer off, and I was stricken with kidney stones, and I am whacked out on painkillers, and I am watching some sort of History Channel special on Greek gods. And I'm watching it, and I'm like, the Greek gods are really weird, and they're very, very funny. And I think I could write a funny satire about this, and also incorporate Christianity and compare Christianity to the ancient Greek god religions and things like that. And I had sent and one of my most favorite writers, is a writer, short story writer, as well as a screenwriter, is the famous science fiction writer Harlan Ellison. So as soon as I got the book published, it was picked up by actually a Christian book publisher. Even though it wasn't intended to be a Christian book, it actually was longlisted for an INSPI award for inspirational books. And I sent Harlan Ellison a copy of an advanced reader copy of the book, and I knew that Harlan has a huge ego. So along with the book, I included my phone number, and I really laid it on thick as far as complimenting him is concerned, and buttering him up. And I didn't think anything else of it. And lo and behold, a few months later, I get a call on my phone, and the caller ID says caller blocked, but it's California. It was Harlan Ellison. And he talked to me for a good over 2 hours, and he really inspired me to write more, write better. He gave me such incredible tips. He told me he would mentor me in writing and things like that, and it was fantastic. That's what really started me on my journey, where Godsmack was my first book, and I thought it was okay, but that really helped me to develop my writing so that Young Cyrano was successful and The Essentials was award winner. And now with Central Park Irregulars, I am just blown away with the kinds of reception I'm getting with it. All the reviews, everything from Book Life to Midwest Book Review to Children's Book Review, Discover Readsy, all these book review places are giving the book fantastic reviews, and I'm very, very excited about that.
Wow, nice.
I tell you, that is so impressive. I'm just thrilled to hear that you wrote something for children.
Right.
You know, I think we take it for granted that children are going to read books at school, but I have a niece who just loves books, even has a little library similar to yours, has a little library in her room. So we do have to cater to them because they want to read things that are outside of the classroom. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And one of the things that, as you mentioned in my bio, I'm certified in social emotional learning and character education. So anything that I write is going to be geared towards either young adults or kids in the middle grade range. And I'm going to sneak in there some lessons about character education, things about honesty, tolerance, accepting diversity, being good citizens. Things like that are always, underlying themes of my books. And I kind of sneak them in there so that the kids learn something, whether they know it or not.
That is wonderful.
Oh,
Wonderful.
yeah, I was wondering what's the because you say it's a new field of social emotional learning. What is that about?
Okay. Social emotional learning basically is teaching kids to be aware of their own emotional state and also being aware of other people's emotional state, being able to read the emotional states of other people. That's going to help in managing their own emotions. So if they're aware of them, they can manage them better. If they're aware of other people's emotions, they could manage their relationships with other people as well.
So is this geared just toward children?
Well, because I'm a school psychologist, that's been my experience in the field, is dealing with that with children. But there are certainly a lot of adults out there that could benefit from that.
Yeah, definitely sounds like it.
Listen, Paul, let me put your information up on the screen. How would you like people to reach you? Through an email or a website? Which one?
My website is probably best. I have a funny last name, so it's unfortunately my website is www.paulcicchini.com. That's PAULCICCHINI.com. They could reach me there. If they want the book, it's available everywhere from Barnes and Nobles to Books A Million, BNN.com, but mostly it's also available on Amazon. This is what the cover looks like. Chris did a fantastic job with this. As you can see, one of the main thrusts of the book is the diversity of the friends. We have white, Hispanic, Muslim, and Jewish kids all becoming friends and all working together to solve a mystery.
Wonderful. That is fabulous. Fabulous. My goodness. Okay, we're going to take just a quick break, and then we'll be right back with more of Books and Besties. Don't go anywhere, everybody. Don't leave. Don't go anywhere.
One of the things I definitely like to share is a testimony on how people and why we would be so important to have our services. I spoke with a young lady who sat on the phone while her son was being pulled over for 45 minutes listening to a conversation. She felt so vulnerable, and she thought to herself, what could I do? Well, if her son would have had these services, instead of being on the phone with his mom, he could have been on the phone with an attorney to help that traffic stop go from 45 minutes down to probably about 5 or 10 minutes or less. Right. And then the other part of why you want to have our services is that we had a small business owner who got our plan, but he didn't get a plan to protect all his businesses. And he ended up in a $30,000 lawsuit. Had he had our services, that lawsuit would have been covered. That's why it's so important to have that. And then finally, on a personal standpoint, we had a member that actually was able to use our services when a alarm company would not honor their agreement. He decided he wanted to cancel. And instead of him just canceling and getting all his money back, they wanted to charge him 2 months of service when he never opened the box. They wanted to charge him an $800 cancellation fee. But because he had these services, the attorney wiped that all out. He didn't have to deal with any of that. And that was all covered by his plan. These are, you don't want to stress. You want to do like myself. I've had this service for going on 20 years, and you want that stress reliever and not feel vulnerable. Come talk to me again, Terrell Duckworth with Legal Shield. Thank you so much, and you have a blessed day.
I've had wives and I've had friends, an anthology for women written by the men we are trying to love. Gentlemen, you are cordially invited to become an author by sharing your thoughts and experiences in our anthology. Tell us about your love for sports. Tell us about your love for grooming. Tell us about your love for gaming. Tell us what you want us to know. Submit your bio, headshot, and your story, along with the submission fee of $250. Send it to author Avalon Brown 165 at yahoo.com, or you may send your info to Angie BEE Presents at gmail.com. An anthology for women written by the men we are trying to love. I've had wives and I've had friends. Brought to you by author Avalon S. Brown and me, the Queen Bee, Dr. Angie BEE. We are right at the beginning of today's episode of Books and Besties. Author Avalon S. Brown is my co-host, and we really want to thank those authors and entrepreneurs that support this show. We are streaming on YouTube today. You can search for Live with Evangelist Angie BEE on YouTube. You can also search for Evangelist Angie BEE and Volusia Business Women. Each of those YouTube channels are streaming our show today, along with the Jericho Broadcast Network. So we're thrilled about that. We're going to bring Avalon back in. Welcome back. Welcome back. And here comes Paul. Thanks for sticking around with us, Paul.
Sure.
Now, my next question. Oh, go ahead, Avalon.
No. Go ahead, Angie.
My next question is about mysteries. I never would have thought to write a mystery. Why are mystery? Why is it so easy for you? Where does it come from?
Let me tell you, it wasn't. This is my first mystery. Usually I like writing satires and things like that. And my connection with my kids and my own biological kids and my school kids has to do with superheroes. That was one way I connected with kids, that especially kids that have emotional disabilities and things like that. That's why I wrote stories like The Essentials, which is about teen superheroes and things like that. And then when the little girl came up to me and challenged me to write a mystery, I'm like, I'm not sure whether I can do this. So after about 3 drafts, I sent it to my editor, Taylor Morris, who did a fantastic job. I sent it to her. I said, do I have something here? And she said, yeah, I think you have something here. And she was able to really, really whittle it down to the point where we are just getting great reviews for it. And I'm like, okay, I can do mystery.
Yeah, I never thought of that either. But now, without telling the storyline or a lot about the story, what exactly is this crime? What type of crime is it?
Well, what it is that my protagonist Harper actually lives in Devon, Pennsylvania, and then she's uprooted because her parents have a big argument about the future of the family. And mom is actually an archaeologist, and she gets a job as a curator in a museum in New York. And dad is not ready to move to New York, so they kind of separate for a while, and mom uproots the kids, Harper and her little brother Bodie, who's also he's very very smart for his age. He's kind of like a prodigy. So Devin is very, very upset about leaving her farm and being able to ride horses in Devon, PA, and suddenly she's in the middle of Manhattan. And in order to try and console herself, she hangs out in Central Park a lot. And one day Bodhi disappears, and in looking for her brother, she winds up meeting these other kids, the other kids in the story, her friends. They become fast friends pretty quickly. And when they finally find Bodhi, he comes to them and he looks like he's in shock. And the kids say, "What's wrong? What happened to you? Did anybody bother you?" And he said, "No. But I think I found a dead body at the foot of the Bow Bridge in Central Park." And they wind up, and they sure enough, there's a body there. And one of the kids actually recognizes the body. And then the adults come along and they try and push the kids out of the way. But the kids are having none of it. They're like, "We need to solve this mystery because it could be connected to our parents." So they realize they can't just trust the adults with what's going on.
Right.
This mystery. So they are able to solve the mystery themselves. And the clues are all over Central Park.
Okay.
A mystery. All right, Avalon, we're gonna have to take some advice from Paul and think about a mystery, a murder mystery. They found a body and everything. Oh man. Mm-mm.
Have to use a lot of imagination for that.
That's for sure. Yeah, I tell you, that sounds wonderful, Paul.
Yes.
Tell us about your other books.
Okay, well, I am especially proud of Young Cyrano, which is actually the fictionalized teenage life of Cyrano de Bergerac. He was a real life person. He was a real Renaissance man in that he was a scientist, an author, a poet, and as well as a great swordsman. And I was always fascinated with him to the point where I even studied fencing. I went back to our local community college and took fencing lessons and things like that. And I was fascinated by his biography, but it only talks about his adult life. It doesn't really talk about too much about his teenage life. So I thought, this is something that I want to write about. Is he was probably just an awkward teenager, just like the rest of us, before he became the greatest lover and the greatest Frenchman and fencer in all of France. He was probably an awkward teenager, just like us. Right. So I wanted to send that message to other young adults.
Nice.
That is wonderful. Okay, so now we're going to pick your brain. Say we've got an audience member that wants to write a book, but doesn't know where to start. What advice would you have for them? I
would tell them just start putting stuff down. I actually started off with pen and paper, but now I'm totally hooked on my laptop now. Just start writing and never stop editing. One of the things that Harlan actually taught me is that he said, don't listen to the critics. He used a different word than critics. It was a little more colorful, but that's the way Harlan was. But he said, just keep on doing what you're doing. And if that's what you love, keep on doing it and keep on practicing it. Just keep on honing your skills, show it to other people. Don't be afraid to show it to other people and seek out other authors.
Yes.
clubs, book guilds, writers clubs, and things like that are always very, very helpful. And you get a lot of feedback from other writers, and they help you avoid those pitfalls. They help you avoid or fix those gigantic holes in your plots and things like that.
Right. And I love what you said earlier about you turned it over to the editor and who got it cleaned up for you. That's good.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
What would you say is your biggest strength when it comes to writing?
I would hope that it's my sense of humor. One of the things that critics have always said about my books is, I never expected Greek gods to be funny. I never expected superheroes to be funny. I didn't know that you could make a character who was so egotistical, like Cyrano de Bergerac, that you can make him funny. So I always inject that humor in there, because I'm not only here to teach a lesson, I'm also here to really, really entertain my readers as well.
Wonderful.
Right. Yeah.
That is wonderful. You got any final questions, Avalon?
No, I think he's answered everything that I had in my head. He's answered it.
That is wonderful. Well, Paul, I don't want to keep you all day, but we'd love to have you stick around if you'd like. I would, and see if we have any other questions that come in from the audience. I know wait a minute. We got one question. Hold on before I let you go. Hold on. I think you may have answered it, but they're asking why mysteries? Why did you decide to write mystery books?
Why mysteries? Because I knew that I wanted to gear this next book to middle grade children. And what I heard overwhelmingly directly from them, because I still practice, even though I'm retired as a school psychologist in New Jersey, I still practice in the schools in Delaware. So I'm in middle grade schools all the time, middle schools, intermediate schools, and things like that. So I asked them, I have my market research right there. I asked the kids, what kind of books do you guys like to read? And overwhelmingly, if it doesn't have to do with wizards or something like that, it's mysteries. They really love the fact that it's, I can figure out this mystery, or I know the secret of this. And that's something that they really relish.
So you got your market audience. My goodness, that is wonderful.
Yes.
Thank you, Paul. We appreciate you for joining us. I hope we didn't keep you too long today.
Not at all. It was an absolute pleasure being on.
Thank you so much. And for all our listeners, let's go to PAULCICCHINI.com to visit the website and learn all about the books that have come from the mind of Paul. Thank you so much, sir. I appreciate you.
You have a blessed day.
You too.
Yes.
Bye-bye. That was fascinating.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
I never think about mysteries. Yeah.
Well, you kind of wrote a mystery. Kind of, sort of. Let me see where it is.
The Friday night
secret. That's a mystery right there. Yeah. I got all sorts of envisionments in my mind of what that secret was. Y'all better contact Avalon. She got a slew of books. She got enough to wet everybody's whistle, I tell you.
And that's true. It's getting there. Author AvalonSBrown.com. It's getting there.
Well, I really appreciated what he said about about catering to the children. I appreciate that, because they're hungry for more. And I was listening to a comedian earlier, Josh Johnson. I love him. He's come out under the Trevor Noah, school of comedy. But Josh was talking about how kids are still affected by what happened during the pandemic, when kids should
Yeah.
have been cultivating their social skills. They were at home on Zoom, and
Yeah.
it's coming back to really bite us a little bit. So to know that Paul is catering to the children in an intellectual way, that's really exciting. That's
Yes,
comforting.
because that's even something to find out how they felt, because a lot of kids didn't like being at home, doing
Mhm.
school at home. I know my grandkids didn't.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, it was something. It was something. Okay, Avalon, it's time to talk about the necessity of editing. We're going to play this next video and come back and discuss it a little bit while we wait for our next guest to join us. So, you are watching Books and Besties, and coming up next is the necessity of editing.
The necessity of editing. Hello, my name is Sonia, and I am a professional content editor. The difference between a proofreader and a content editor, as I have just recently learned, is care. A proofreader, though still respecting the boundaries of punctuation, which are very important, often will not clean up the statements that you have looped together and presented as a periodical. A content editor will read, proofread, punctuate, and clean up your content as necessary. Both are crucial, especially if you are nervous about your English skills. Today, I would like to talk to you a little bit about the necessity of editing. I am the type of person that catches the error before seeing the content. One of my biggest gripes is seeing an error on an obituary. What? Oh my goodness, these are the last words that anyone will ever read about you. Even in grief, spell check still works. I encourage you, write your own final words if you believe that your loved ones will leave grammatical and spelling errors unchecked. But I digress. In this time of artificial intelligence, I have found that our God-given intelligence has disappeared. Grammarly, ChatGPT, and those electronic assistants are convenient as a starter, kind of like a recipe for a dish. However, just like a good cook goes back and ensures they have included everything and even enhances that recipe, a great author still needs to go back over their work and finalize before completion. If you do not want to do that, I implore you to hire someone that will. A fresh eye makes a world of difference. The written word often shapes a picture of the author by the reader. When synonyms are used interchangeably, adverbs are tossed about incorrectly, and punctuation is just doing its own thing, an avid reader will lose interest in the plot and grow tired of making corrections in their head. Some authors happily pay a photographer or even an artist twice as much as the book is being sold for, just to ensure that their headshot catches the eye of the reader. However, their lack of having a second eye proofread and edit their liturgical baby leaves the reader of your masterpiece distracted and missing the point of the story. I will never forget mourning a grandparent. These arrangements of hers were taken over by a distant relative who was believed to be capable of handling this huge responsibility of presenting this decades-old life in a single 5x7 page. The misspellings of names, cities, and even occupations brought new tears to my eyes. Not only were some of these facts able to be easily researched, But the lack of care and concern before this final complimentary life story went to print was appalling. The necessity of editing is clear. I equate reading a book to watching a movie. However, you're able to place it on hold with a bookmark versus a streaming remote. Unlike a movie, the pause is controlled by your reader, not by the electronic device that allots you a full 3 minutes to pause your television stream, then return to the last spot that you were watching. A reader has the opportunity to turn the page or close the chapter, both literally and figuratively. No one wants to wade through a run-on yap session on a paper that left a dangling participle leading into a paragraph that begins, "The nectar day." What? Whose nectar? What day? Just like that, you've lost the attention of your reader. Sure, they may come back only to run into a new scenario that begins with two people speaking without proper identification, properly identified punctuation, and then this turns your reader's moment in time mental escape into a deep pondering chore, i.e., work. The AI assistants care nothing about punctuation. Their job is to lay out their opinion of what you'd like to hear and read, and your plight is to build on it while an editor's delight is to clean it up for the reader. The joy of a content editor is to take your raw thoughts, words, and emotion from babble to brilliance, from wondering to wonderful, from an unfinished read to a page-turning pleasure. Friends and family are excited that you have decided to delve into this new chapter, pun intended, of your life. So criticism about your incorrect usage of your versus your won't be shared with you. However, your audiobook narrator will find themselves starting over and over again, potentially losing that new reader joy that's expressed in their voice. It's gone, and so is the listening. In conclusion, nurture your book as one would anything born from their loins. Create, spell check, give it to your hired content editor. The passing of your book from your eyes to proofer eyes will correct your missings and enhance your musings. I personally care enough to make you sound your very best. I am Angie BEE, and I approve this message.
A conversation with Mama.
Many will come on this segment and they will come because they need to have a conversation with their mama.
Amen.
A Conversation with Mama is a series of episodes that discuss different topics that are important to you. Standing on God's Word and the Scripture as found in Proverbs 31:26. Now it's time for today's episode of A Conversation with Mama. Sundays at 3:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We can help you put the pieces together. Audiobooks, flyers, commercials, and more. Angie BEE Productions on Facebook. Living with anxiety and depression can feel like you're drowning. Come join a tribe that will help you press through parenthood and life. maternalmattersfavored.org, mmfavored.org. Really excited about the show today. I got Atlas the Wonder Dog in the studio with me. He's checking out the people that are outside the window, so hopefully he won't start barking at anybody. But he's there on his blanket keeping me company, and I am grateful for that. You are watching Books and Besties. This show airs Saturday mornings beginning at 11 a.m. We generally end the show about 12:45, 1 p.m. But it's an opportunity for us to introduce you to authors, entrepreneurs, ministry leaders, community leaders. It just is a hodgepodge of guests that we think others should know about. And so we're thrilled that you are here, and we hope that you like and subscribe to the show so that you get the notifications that we are here. Okay, bringing back Avalon, my bestie. And Avalon, my goodness, can you tell me? I'm looking for the picture right now. Can you tell us what inspired you to write this book, From the Sandbox to
Oh,
Marriage, Faith, and Ministry?
that's my mom and dad's story.
Oh,
When my mom had to go to the nursing home because I was taking care of her for 20 years, and then it just got to the point where I couldn't handle her by myself anymore. When she was in the nursing home, actually, it was a great thing because she became more active than she was at home because it was a one level nursing home and she was able to go all over the place by herself in a wheelchair, meet new people and everything. So one
nice.
day, she was talking to me about her and my dad. So I just started telling her, okay, I'm gonna write a book about y'all's story. And she was like, you ain't gonna write no book about me. That's how my so I was like, come on, Ma. I had to keep after every time I come. You ain't gonna tell me your story. So she started telling me the story from the beginning, how they met when they were about 2 years old. They lived on the same compound back in the South. And she just started telling me her whole story, her the whole life story. Every day when I came in, I started writing something. I was like, okay, it's time. Let's give me a little bit more. And until I had a whole book from the time that they got married at the age of 16, and then
Nice.
they went through different experiences as anybody else would, in the South. And my dad became like a seasonal worker, so he ended up going in other states. And I guess one time he ended up here in the North, and eventually he decided to move the whole family up to the North. Although me and my brother, we were still young, so he left us there. They left us there with their parents. I was about 2 years old. My brother was about 11 years older than me, but they took my oldest sister, who was about 16 years older than me. So, they ended up in the South, and dad always wanted to be a minister. She told me how that went, how he ended up coming up here to Newark, New Jersey. And
Wow.
they eventually, he got sick for like 13 months with TB. He was in the hospital for a long time.
Mm-mm.
But when he got well, he went to this church, and the minister, the bishop there, found out that he wanted to be. So he mentored him underneath him to the point where he became a bishop, where he eventually got ordained as a bishop and started his own church. So she gave me, the story of their life up to the point where dad died at 93 in 93. But then mom didn't pass away to 2018. She was 98. She just went to sleep, and she just, she passed away in her sleep very peacefully. So that's, it's their story. And then up to the point to after daddy passed, the rest of the story I wrote because I took care of her for the next 20 years after he passed. Yes.
Mm. 16 years old, they got married.
Yes. Yes. Back in the South, I guess you got married early.
Yeah.
They started family early back then.
Yep.
Because you're
Yep.
talking about in the 1930s.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, because
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
my grandparents were born in 1925 and 1928, and they got married early. They were,
Yeah.
kids in Georgia, and they got
Yeah.
married early. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. They got married in Damascus, Georgia.
Mm-hmm. 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 It does it. This is beautiful. I love the image of the two of them. I love the church. I just love everything about it, from the sandbox to marriage, faith, and ministry. I just
Yes.
love it.
Well, it's a
Thank you.
journey.
Thank you so much for sharing. Thank you so much. So much. All right. We got to do another shameless plug about Still I Care, nurses rising after bullying. When I was reading through the stories, when I was narrating them, it seemed to me that bullying in the nursing profession comes from a general level of disrespect. If
Yes.
you can't respect a new nurse or a seasoned nurse, um, to the point to where you're bullying them, you got a problem. That's a lack of respect, I think. And
Yeah.
it
And
it
like I,
is. Oh, go ahead.
no, no, no. And like I said, it's not always your coworker too. Not
Yeah,
always your coworker.
supervisor.
I
And
read an article. I'm sorry. I read an article that said 51% of the bullies in the workplace are the managers.
51%. Mm-mm. Mm-mm,
Yes.
that's too much.
And I could believe that. Having experienced it, I can believe that.
I mean, one of the stories talked about a teacher that was bullying in the classroom, and then it transferred over to the workplace. And I
Yes.
just, man, it was just
Yeah.
a
They
mess.
end up running into the same person when they started as a new nurse after passing their license. The person was working on the floor where they end up working.
Mm, 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 mm. I tell you, it's not fair. It's not fair, but it's either gonna, when you disrespect somebody, it's not fair. You either need to um, repent
Or something.
and apologize.
But a lot of it with the managers are these people, like when they post these jobs, you have people that's like, okay, I really don't want to be at that level because they know what it entails. I've been a clinical manager, so I can tell you it's been a whole lot. But then it's like, okay, because they no one takes the job, they're gonna put the person in place that has the most seniority. And that person may not be a people person.
Right.
So then they don't realize how to talk to their employee,
Wow.
and they just talk to them anyway. Or, you should never reprimand somebody in front of another employee. I mean,
Right.
I've
That's
had that happen.
disrespectful.
You
Hmm.
disrespected me. You should have pulled me in in your office to tell me something that really was irrelevant.
Right.
You blew it up, and it really wasn't that deep, you know.
Right.
And so these are the type of thing. I mean, I had one. It's like I think every day she looked to find something to call me in the office for, and it
Mm-mm.
got to the point where I see what you're doing. So while you're talking, I'm just gonna stand here and look at you, let you vent whatever it is you think that I didn't do or feel you need to correct. And
That's
then
true.
I said, you know what I do? I said, okay, just like that in that tone, and walk out the office.
You're right.
Walk out the office. I'm not gonna stand here and go back and forth with you when I know what I did. So it's like different things like that. And then I've seen where, okay, a new nurse come in and they're put, with someone to precept them, and the person is just like, instead of teaching them, you're correcting them in the wrong way. You have to, I've been a trained preceptor too. So you
Hmm.
have to have patience. You got to show them, okay, all right, this is the way to do it. You can't just be, you did that wrong. That's not the way to precept a new person.
Mm-mm.
They're trying to learn. So you need to have that patience with them.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what a lot of people are lacking now, patience with the new people coming in.
Right, right. And again, from a patient's point of view, I don't want somebody that's been bullied to have to come in and have issues. So I tell you, it's an amazing concept, and I am grateful that you're sharing it, because it seems like nobody's working on it. I don't know about human resources or whatnot in different hospitals, but it seems like it's running rampant.
And it is. And they're putting out different articles saying how the workplace should handle it. But the
Mm-hmm.
thing is the workplace handling it, paying attention to the instructions or the suggestions that's being given to them to deflate this workplace violence, bullying?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's good. That's good. Well, Sharon has joined us, and
Yeah.
we're going to try to bring her in just a couple minutes. Sharon, do you have a lamp or a light that you can put in front of your face? Because there's a light behind you, and it's putting a shadow on your face. So if you can turn around and face the light or put something in front of you, I want you to look your best in that gorgeous green dress she got on. Yes. Yes. Yeah. So she's going to be with us in just a minute. And while we wait for her, let's hear from Carol, Mike, and Shikana right here on Books and Besties. A word from the author of Father's Daughter by LaCarol Lynn Brock. As you read this story, it is my desire for you to understand a few things. No matter who you are, what you've done, or where you have been, as long as you have breath in your body, you are still redeemable. The King of Glory will always accept you rather than throw you away. A Father's Daughter.
What is my name? My name is Michael Douglas Scott. I've had chronic pain for the past 15 years. As I age, I get more pains. I have degenerative arthritis. I have basically 14 different medications, and they range from sleep apnea, trazodone, to ibuprofen, to meloxicam, to gabapentin, these are pain medications, about 6 different pain medications, medications to go to sleep. And I learned about the immune support through Ernest Warren. He's a real good friend of mine. Do something, and he wanted to know how it made me feel. But it made me feel like a young boy again, and it caused me to be feeling full of life, full of energy. When I took the super immune support, I saw results the second day. Several friends who really wonder what the heck's gotten into me, because I'm jumping all over the place. I catch the bus and the train. I drive my van to the train station and use the stairs. And every chance, all day, I'm jumping up and down and doing push-ups, not push off the walls, jumping jacks, just full of energy. I've lost 25 pounds since December the 5th. I want to tell the world. I'll stand on the mountaintop and tell the world how good this stuff is on me. It takes care of me. My name is Michael D. Scott, and I take super immune support, beta glucan, and I think you should too.
If you or someone you know needs help coping with depression, anxiety, or PTSD, overcoming low self-esteem, or managing major life transitions, we invite you to schedule a free consultation call for telehealth clients. Shikana Downs, licensed clinical social worker, is now accepting new telehealth clients. in the office too. Schedule a free consultation by calling 386-385-4483. That's 386-385-4483. In the brand new Daytona Beach office as well. 50 to 60-minute individual therapy sessions and a variety of insurance plans are accepted. Couples therapy and coaching is coming soon. We invite you to log on to cjaqis.com. Schedule a free consultation by calling 386-385-4483. That's 386-385-4483. We are truly grateful for the supporters of this show. You are watching Books and Besties. I'm bringing in my bestie, author Avalon S. Brown. And can you tell us about Sharon Lynn Richmond? Can you tell us about her?
Yes, Sharon is a debut author, a retired professional who works as a draftman for Navistar Incorporation for 34 years and a devoted grandmother. Her life in Bolingbrook, Illinois, revolves around her family. Her experience navigating the complex aftermath of her sister's abuse compelled her to break her own silence and write Search for the Rainbow. She hopes her story will foster difficult conversations, build empathy, and become a source for other families facing similar shadows. As a grandmother raising her grandchildren in Bolingbrook, she brings a unique and relatable perspective to her writing, proving it is never too late to share a story that can inspire and heal others.
That sounds wonderful. Wonderful. And this is her debut book. Oh my goodness. Welcome to the show, Sharon.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me. I live in Bolingbrook, Illinois, and we are an hour behind you.
Oh goodness.
Oh goodness. But God, we made it in and we made it on. And thank God for that granddaughter that helped me get on here.
You're right. We got to appreciate these grandchildren because they know how to do
Yes.
stuff. They know how to do it. You look
Yes.
wonderful today in that
I
emerald
appreciate
green and everything. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So my first question is, why did you decide to write a book?
I have always known that I would write this book. This is based on a true story. It happened in my family, and I struggled with writing the book because, you know, Black people like to keep secrets.
Yes.
What goes on in our homes stays in our homes. So even as I'm speaking to you today, and my mother passed in 2017, I feel her looking over my shoulder, but now she's smiling. Initially, I thought she might say, you know, maybe you shouldn't talk so much. But this story, because I have seen the evidence through generational effects of the trauma, it had to be written. And I wrote it because nobody else would. And it's about a sister who was dealing with domestic violence. She had moved away to St. Louis from Chicago, searching for a rainbow. She was looking for a better life. She was looking to leave behind, like we do, leave behind all the old garbage. I'm going to start anew. And when she got there, she met the devil. Of course she did, right? So she met the devil. And so you have to follow the book because I can't give it away too much. But she met the devil, and you know how we are so proud as women, especially Black women. We can't tell everybody that we're still struggling, because everybody's looking at us as successful and we're moving forward. And so she couldn't share that was going on in her life. And by the time that she did, we had to rush to try to bandage up everything and figure everything out. And so that's why I had to put pen to paper and write this story.
Amen. Amen. Mm-hmm.
So the characters, the main character is Jewel. I changed names, of course, and I made it bigger because we all have our story. And that name Jewel says a whole lot right there.
Mm-hmm.
She was a precious stone. She
Mm-hmm.
was valued. So I gave her that name. And and by writing it, it was I didn't initially writing it, it was for me to heal because I was feeling a lot of guilt. Of course, could have done this? Why didn't I see the signs? Why didn't I recognize it and follow through? But we all have our own challenges and we can't always see. We have blinders on trying to figure out our own lives. So it's very difficult to see somebody else, even as close as a sibling. And so
Wow.
I wrote the book trying to heal myself and heal my family. So it took quite a while. And I've spoken to a number of writers, and this type of writing, they don't encourage people to do because it affects you um, physically, mentally. It could, because you're really reliving the trauma.
Oh. Oh.
Yes.
You're reliving the trauma, and especially if you want it to resonate, you try to put in all the feelings, the smells, the senses, and the sounds, and it did affect me. My blood
Mm-mm.
pressure, uh, I ended up
Mm-mm.
having some kidney problems because of the blood pressure, but I kept
Mm-mm.
writing, and
Mm-mm.
I am so glad that I did because
Wow.
Mm-mm.
I had my first book signing last Saturday, and it turned into a healing service. Not
Yes.
service, not service, because it wasn't in the.
Yeah.
Oh, did we lose her? Oh, there you
Oh, there
are.
she is.
I apologize. Layla, are you here?
Yes, we can hear you.
Layla, come here.
We hear you.
I'm gonna put her backstage until they can get that taken care of. But yes, she's right. You know, we write these stories and we're pouring our heart out, and it's messing with us. We are reliving it.
Yes, it's true. Yeah.
We are
True.
definitely reliving it, and that is tragic.
Uh,
I think the easiest thing to do is to write a story for an anthology. Then it doesn't feel
yeah.
like your whole
The
is
whole.
the whole book. Yeah, yeah. Oh,
Mhm.
Sharon's back.
Yeah.
Let's see.
I so apologize.
No, you're good.
I am
You're
a
good.
grandmother and I'm doing my best, and I
You're
appreciate
good.
Oh,
you
I,
inviting
hey.
me.
My granddaughter had to do a lot of things on this computer for me.
This is the book, and I've gotten great reviews from it. And like I said, I didn't write it initially to make a book. I wrote it for my own healing, but through the book and through the book signing, people they were comfortable in the setting, and more than half of the people, male and female, got up to express, to tell their stories, short
Yes,
snippets of abuse by
Mhm.
parents, abuse
yes.
by clergy, abuse by a partner. And so this
Mhm.
story, I'm kind of overwhelmed that it really resonates with so many people. And I think through saying the words and expressing what happened to you, there's some healing that comes to your body by letting it out and by sharing it
Yes.
with others. And then
Absolutely.
Yes.
you realize you're not by yourself.
Right.
Right.
There's a
Right.
community that loves you and that's holding your hand and saying it's not right what you went through.
You're
And
Right.
right.
so I'm really proud of the work. Please read it. I'm kind of stumbling over my words right now, but I took so much time to craft this story that I stand on it.
Yes.
Very emotional. It's very thorough. There's a lot of twists and turns that you will not believe.
Sharon, tell us how people can contact you. Is there a website or an email or a phone number that I can put up on the screen?
I am working on my website today. I have another young lady who's helping me with me. A lot of young people are jumping in, which is so great, helping me
Good.
with my website. But you can contact me. I guess I can give my phone number out.
Okay, that's fine.
Let's just do that for now. 630-484-8935. Or my email is Richmond, RICHMOND, Sharon 515 at yahoo.com. I'm
Okay,
also
and
on Facebook.
you said the phone number is 630-484-5935.
8935.
8935. Okay, let me get that right. And go ahead, Avalon. I know you got questions while I'm putting this up here. Go ahead, honey.
Oh no, I was just gonna make a comment. Like she said, it does affect you. You know, Angie, I don't know if we're in that same anthology, Blinded Love, where I put my story in that anthology.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like you said, it does affect it because, like us, up to now, this happened when my son was young. He's 38 now. He might have been about 3 then. But it does continue to affect you in a certain way that I never let a male get close enough
Yes.
where I had to share anything of mine that was personal. You know, when I say that, it's like, you know, if you wanted to get married or you get a real committed relationship, you kind of share things. I would never let anybody get that close up to now.
There's another young lady who was like you. And if you looked at her, and that's the other thing, you can't look at somebody and size them up and know what they went through because
Right.
Nobody wants to look like they've been through anything. But she said that her father, and she felt compelled to tell us that her father beat her mother all of her childhood.
Wow.
And then he got saved and then he changed. But nobody wanted to talk to him. And she said, guess who had to take care of him when he got sick and everything? She did.
Wow.
And she didn't realize how traumatized she was and how it had affected her life until that very second the light went off. She says, and she's in her early 60s. She says, that's why I won't let men get close to me. I don't trust anybody. And I felt so privileged that she was able to release that and get some clarity at that very moment, really.
Mm-hmm.
And she says, I don't trust anybody. She says, but nobody can get close to me because I push them away. And the whole room was like, kind of, we could relate to it. We weren't judging her, but it was so
Right.
insightful and so raw that it just came out. And she says, oh, that's why. So it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Wow.
We guard ourselves. Of course we do.
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
And the
And the
other
least
thing,
little thing I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, you go ahead.
No, I was going to say the least little thing that you see wrong, you're gone. At least that's me. It may last maybe 2 years. By then, I'm gone. The
Right.
least little thing I see, I'm gone. That's not right or whatever, I'm gone.
Yes. Well, and then we realized our focus is so on the woman or the male that's battered. We don't realize that there's a child usually that's observing everything. So all our resources go into helping that adult, that woman, that person, that man or woman. But the child is there being affected. And I saw it through writing the book. That child that was affected, that saw everything, that may never tell you everything she saw or experienced. Now they're an adult and they're raising their children.
Yes. Yes.
They're trying to raise their children, but they're
Yeah.
living in this bubble that we
Yeah.
can't see. But you can
Yeah.
see the effects in their children.
The first time I recognized the domestic violence syndrome or the cycle was, back in the 80s when Prince did the movie Purple Rain.
Mm.
And through that movie, he was always stopping his father from beating his mother. But then as soon as he got a girlfriend, he smacked her. And so,
Right.
yeah, we learn it. They learn it. And that's all they know. And I never forgot that. And so
Yeah.
you bring up a valid point.
And
Very
it
valid.
becomes normalized.
Mhm.
Because that's where you live, that's where you were, that's where you saw that's how you saw your parent function. And so
Right.
kind of roll all of that out in the book. There's
Right.
found out that my mother had been in communication, trying to settle things as mothers do, right? Quietly trying to settle this for her child. And she had actually written him a letter asking him, pleading with him to, not to hurt her daughter, to go your separate way. And that's what we would do. But at the time, we felt like, oh, you knew about this and you didn't include us.
Mm-hmm.
But as I write it, I can see the method in her madness.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is beautiful.
It's,
Beautiful.
And
yeah.
it's really, I stand on this book. It makes you
Mm-hmm.
think, and it shows the cunning of the abuser, the cunningness
Yeah.
of them. How they, narcissists, they can read you, they can read us, and they know you're empaths and all of that kind of. I didn't know that word back then. That's a new word I learned.
Mm-hmm.
And being an empath.
Mhm.
Of course, she was an empath. She was giving, pouring out. And the narcissist is crushing her, crushing her, crushing her. But all of this is new to these new terms are new to me now. But
Mm-hmm.
that's exactly what was going on. A power play.
Oh my
It's
goodness.
And then
true. Yeah.
the fact that she was away from family was perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that she was the youngest is perfect because the youngest going out, we got to prove ourselves.
Right.
We don't need them. We're going to make it.
Right.
And he knew she didn't have anybody there immediately to protect her.
Right.
And so I am so thankful now through the struggle. Even just talking to being able to have this discussion about this,
Right.
oh, it's the best. But I would like to sell some books. I enjoy the conversation so much. So
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Well, we
See,
don't
I
want
was
you to
one
go
of the.
anywhere. Don't
Right.
don't go
yeah.
anywhere. We're gonna put you backstage for just a minute. And Avalon, I want you to tell us about Joanna. She's here and she's ready to come in. And then hopefully we can introduce Sharon and Joanna if Sharon can
Yeah.
stick around a little bit. So
Okay. Joanna is a writer from Sweden, single mom to a 7-year-old son and 4 fur babies. Uh, and she has a lamp. I don't know what that is. LAPPHUND. She'll have to tell us what that is. And
okay.
2 cats. Yeah. Her book
Mhm.
came to life because she wanted to share the wisdom that she learned from her own spiritual journey and turned it into a relatable story that would not only touch the readers, but help it heal and grow. Her book tells the story of a group of women finding themselves on the path of spiritual awakening as their concept of reality and dream is tested. They embark on a journey to clear their wounds and follow their intuition and hearts. They do this under the guidance of a powerful goddess and saints from different cultural origins, to a point where the reader gets to be a part of the story of healing, not only their own wounds, but the collective and ancestral wounds that women have carried for generations. Yes.
This sounds like a good book.
Yes.
Thank you.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you. That was a lovely introduction.
Mhm.
Yeah, well, this is the book. Let's start by showing the cover.
Oh,
Oh,
nice.
Uh,
Yes.
got a
have
rainbow on it.
It's
Yes.
got a rainbow. It's got the moon. It's like, it's meant to kind of awaken the spirit of both sisterhood and the inner child. That
Oh
you
my
would kind of
goodness.
feel like intrigued to that it's not scary. It's like, because sometimes when you think of healing, you think of something, oh, this big, you have to go through shadow work and it's heavy and you have to deal with all your trauma, which you do, but there is a happier element, and that's kind of what I wanted to send out into the world with my book. And that's also why I chose to write it in the way I did, where sort of it's just normal women who are going about in their daily world, and suddenly they have a weird dream and everything just changes. And suddenly the goddesses turn up, and they have to question their whole reality and what they think of themselves, and how they go about in the world, and why they are where they are. But it's still light. I still chose to write it like in a easy read. It's not like a heavy book, but it's just thick. It's like, yeah.
Oh my goodness. I'll be lost in there.
But it's like carefully, divided up into sections. You don't have to, muster it, so sort of. But I was kind of careful in sectioning it out into different dreams, so that you can go about in a dreamscape, and you can follow these women in a like a magical world, where they can where you can kind of get a more grasp of the layers behind the trauma.
Yeah.
And then you have, when they are in the real world, you get to follow them, where everything is just like it is. We're hiding everything. We're smiling, and we're trying to go about, but everything that's buzzing underneath, that you can't see. That's kind of the story I'm trying to tell, and hopefully succeeded. Yeah.
Wonderful. Listen, I want to put your contact information up on the screen.
Yeah.
So what do you prefer, an email or a website? What do you prefer?
Both can work, but the website has all of the information as well. So,
okay, so spell your website for me.
So it's how do you say it in English? www. It's like Johanna. There's nothing weird before that. And then it's Johanna Sandstrom in one word, and then .com.
Okay.
So.
How long did it take you to write that book?
Surprisingly, really quick. It took me like 6 months. Wow. I mean, I've had parts of the story like kind of brewing in my mind for years, but I wasn't really able to kind of connect it into a comprehensible story. But once I kind of got it, I just sat down and everything just poured out. So yeah, it was rather quick. And then I got a publisher quite quickly as well, which I was very fortunate about. And it aired published launched in July.
Wonderful.
So, because I was actually kind of eager to get the message out. That was the reason why I was writing so quickly as well, because I felt like there's a need for these types of stories in the world, where women feel empowered and they feel seen, and they are the main characters. There's like 4 men in the whole story, and all of them are like really in the background. So that's one thing that I really wanted to just send out there, because of the times that we are in now.
Yes. Well, I'd like to bring Sharon back in, because the two of you, I want the two of you to connect and be able to chat with each other. You both have got rainbows on your book covers, and you both have written stories that are going to be helpful to women. So yes. Sharon, this is Joanna. Joanna, this is Sharon. Welcome to the show.
I like the part where you talked about the inner child, because I think we deal with that for sure when we're dealing with domestic abuse. There was some inner child conflict, I know, with Jewel and her being raised, and how she viewed men, because I can tell by the way her relationships went, because Seth was the worst of them, but there had been others in her choice that weren't wise decisions. And so that's why you have to do that healing work, as you're trying to help us do that healing work
Right.
before you go out and try to receive somebody else into your life.
Right.
And it's
And
like, oh, sorry.
no.
No, because you said earlier that it goes back to how you were treated as or your memory of your mom and dad's well, the domestic violence or any other kind of trauma that happened in your childhood, but then it goes also for your parents. It goes back one
Exactly.
further. So it is everything. It's just like a domino effect, and the only way to stop it is to take a step back and go into your inner child and see, okay, what is it that made me so insecure about
Right.
life and me, or not feel safe in love, basically.
You're right. You're right.
So
You're
it can
right.
actually, in my book, I show it wasn't just because we didn't have necessarily domestic violence in the household, but even in our experiences outside of the household, in this world, this, with school teachers, male school teachers, or gangbangers on the streets, or the males that we run into, all of that can influence our outlook. And but I'm kind of jumping because this is on my mind. I try not to portray or villainize the male in my book.
Right.
I didn't realize I was doing that, but there's a balance. There's a balance. So we have the perpetrators and we have those who are there solid, those solid men in our lives. My book, it turned out to be the captain, the captain at the police station.
Wow.
It just didn't fit well with him, this whole story. So he came back around because, like I said, he got tired of seeing so many Black girls left behind. Like Black lives didn't matter. So he went back around to try to figure out what actually happened. So that's the
Right.
twist in my story. I didn't want to villainize anybody because males are also, we all can be,
Victim.
abused.
Right. Right.
There's a little boy who saw his mom abusing his dad, or vice versa. This little boy saw some abuse,
You're right.
And that's the other thing. There's no perfect saint and no sinner in this book. Jewel wasn't a saint, right? She wasn't, we want to paint that. We like to paint that she was all of that, or I was all of that. And that my mother, because she was the Christian woman in the book, that she was on this pedestal. But we were equally this and equally that, because we're human.
Right.
And that's what I got out of the story. And that's okay.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Oh my goodness. It just, I'm honored to be a co-host of this show. But then I'm thrilled when the Holy Spirit puts together 2 or 3 perfect guests for this one episode. We never really plan what genre or who's going to be up first, second, third, but just because you guys are writing on similar themes, I am truly grateful for that. I'm truly grateful.
I appreciate the rainbow connection, and that's the name of my newsletter. I just started it yesterday. The Rainbow
I
Connection.
love rainbows.
So you are a part of that now. We're connected.
But it's also rainbows hold such a powerful energy, and I mean, even if it's just in the sky or just looking at them, they make you happy. Not only your inner child, but it kind of fill you up with joy. And also, if whenever there's a rainbow, everyone smiles. So,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Joanna, where do you live?
I live in Sweden, actually. So I'm from
Oh,
Sweden, and yeah, but I've traveled the world. So I've been living everywhere, and mostly in Asia, for many years. And then I came back. Well, oh God, it's like 12 years now. Because I met my ex-husband, married, got my son, and then divorced. And shortly after the divorce, I had my spiritual awakening, where everything flipped for me. It's just
wonderful.
yeah, it was a wonderful experience, and it's ongoing, obviously. But it taught me a lot about myself and why I made the choices I made. Kind of sometimes I feel that women tend to abandon themselves in their own lives. Basically, they tend to choose the love of they tend to like not see themselves in or not choose themselves. Basically,
Mm-hmm. Joanna, we have a question for you.
yeah.
They want to know, how did you find your publisher?
I actually just Googled. I Googled and I wrote down like every publisher I could find, and then I just wrote them an email, basically. So that I was just really lucky. I don't really know how I did it, basically. But the thing is that the one of the first publishers actually that I talked to were really loved the story, and yeah, got hooked. So I was just very lucky.
That is good. That is good.
Yeah.
My goodness. Mm, mm, mm.
So
I
Joanna, me and Angie, we always come out at the same time.
I'm sorry, Avalon. Let me hush.
No, you go ahead.
No, you're good. You're good. Ask your question.
I was going to ask Joanna, is some of the wounds that she talked about of these women, is any of it domestic violence?
Um, I'm not direct about it, if you put it that way, because I wanted the reader to be able to read between the lines, or kind of be able to make it a little bit into their own story, or see themselves reflected in the characters. But yes, there is like at least in one of the women's stories, there's an underlining that there's probably domestic violence there. And then there is another one who is well, it's not domestic violence, but it's more of the discrimination that takes place in the workplace. So they all have different types of wounds, and different ways of managing them. And also different layers to it, like if there's a mother wound, or like an absent mother, or the father is very strict, or something like that. But yeah,
Okay.
so there's a little bit of everything, I think. Yeah.
Wow, that is
So,
incredible.
I was
Okay, we got another question that came in for each of you. Sharon, I know you said that you had just done an event. Can you tell us more about that event, book signing?
Sure, it was my first book signing, and I had it at Anne Reno Park. It's a park district facility, and I rented it out. I could have gotten the rooms free at our library, Fountaindale. They have my book there. I was honored that they feature local authors, and the shelves are full. That one shelf is full of local authors. So I live in a community of writers, which is really refreshing. But the rooms were booked because they're so nice and they're free. So I had to My book was published on my birthday, August 19th. And I've been working because I'm a self-publisher for my book. So I've been working diligently, learning the craft every step of the way. So I finally got a room. I decided to rent the room at the Anna Reno. It seated 35, and I was saying to myself, because I'm not as confident, I'm new. I'm saying if I get 5 people, I'll be excited. Well, all the seats were filled, and they had to bring in more chairs. And I had a moderator because I saw this at another book signing for Dr. Daniel Black. I don't know if you know him. He's an author. He was here in Chicago. He had a moderator. So I said, well, I'm going to have a moderator. And she surprised me. I told her I didn't want to know the questions ahead of time. And she came up with some questions, and I spoke off the top of my head, out of my heart. And I think that's what resonated with people, because it wasn't, I didn't know what she was going to ask me, so I was truthful. And so with me being truthful, other people felt comfortable speaking their truth. And I had a photographer there that I didn't plan on. Another lady brought her son, who was a photographer. He made it into a huge event, taking pictures. And at the end of it, he had us all seated and organized, and he took a group picture with everybody. So everybody is smiling and holding their books up, so it made me feel official, and that my foot is in the door, and it gave me more confidence that I'm doing the right thing. I'm doing the right thing.
Good.
And my daughter, my granddaughter, she had a book published, The Whole World Opened Up, last year. I helped her. She had a publisher, Three Pigeons Press, out of Ontario, Canada. We lucked out too with that. It was still expensive editing, and the editor said, I like the book so much, I want to help you publish it. So she helped us publish it. So I went through that, and I said, well, I've learned something from watching that. I want to see if I can do that on my own. And I'm happy with it so far.
Good, good. Joanna, tell us about how how do you find people that are interested in buying your book? How are you putting your book out there for people to purchase it?
Well, I actually went to a book fair in Manila in September. So I got a chance to talk to a lot of different people, women mostly, but actually some men were interested as well, which was kind of astonishing to me. But and they actually find it intriguing and a nice read. But it was really interesting talking to women mainly, and on site. Well, that's the main event I've done actually, and I talked to and some were confused, some were not familiar with the whole process of healing and wounds and like why.
Right.
Or I don't like feminist stories, and I'm like, yeah, well. It's like, that was one of the criticism I got, and I was like, yeah, well, no, but you should care about your own power, in your feminine power. It doesn't matter. It's not a label. It's your own inner self that needs to be loved and seen and feel that you're sovereign. But either way, some others were really, really enthusiastic about it. Because it's a fresh take on it. It's not a manual on how to heal. It's just filled with magic and fairies, and it's like it's a little bit, magic dust in the air, if you put it that way, while still being real. And in the modern world and everything, is so.
Wonderful, wonderful. Here on Books and Besties, we like to give people an opportunity to learn. We want to encourage people to write their books, and so you ladies just helped us with a couple of important tips finding a publisher, got to get the editing done, got to get the concept that you want. And so I appreciate that. I appreciate it. Thank you so much to the both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure.
Thank you. It's been great to be part of it.
Avalon, you got any final questions before we let these ladies go?
No, I don't. I mean, I enjoyed listening to your stories. I didn't even realize that Johanna was in Sweden. I know I saw it in her bio, but I didn't realize she was actually in Sweden.
That's
And
nice.
it's, I'm glad to hear that you're writing stories about what's going on with women and telling your story. And, the domestic violence is something that goes on. And then a lot of women are going through healing, which Johanna was talking about, like loving yourself as a woman and going through your healing and stuff. So, I really enjoyed this. So it's very interesting. I'm so glad that you came on to talk about your stories.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Joanna, do you have any final words of advice for anyone that may want to become an author?
Yes, trust in your story, I would say. And if you love your story, you want to write it, then that's the story you need to write. Don't write what anyone else tells you to write.
Okay. Write your story. Be true to yourself. That's good. Same question, Sharon. You got any advice for up and coming authors?
Yes, I say write. You know why? Because nobody else is going to write. You fill that space. Your story is important. And you know what else I got out of writing? I got to hold Jules' hand forever.
Oh.
I get to hold her hand. She's still there. But I actually get to let her go too, in a good way. In a good way and not a guilty way, not any of that. So write for yourself and write because nobody else is going to write that story. So you might as well feel confident and do it.
You're right. Nobody else is going to do it. You're right about that. You are so right. Praise God. Well, ladies, we thank you for joining us today on Books and Besties. I hope we didn't keep you too long, but your stories are so valuable to us. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much for today.
All right. We will be in touch. Take care. Oh, Avalon, that was exquisite.
Yes.
Oh, just the way their stories kind of were along the same lines. It's just, that was wonderful. Wonderful.
Yes.
Lord, I'm so grateful. Every time you put these guests together, I'm so grateful for you.
Thank you.
I
don't even realize I be putting guests together that correlate. If they respond, then I give them a schedule. And then it just works out like that, I guess.
I think the Holy Spirit has his hand on every episode of this show because it really, it's more than just us. It truly is. It truly is. Okay, we got just one or two more videos we need to show before we get off the air. This one talks about the YUP program, Youth Entrepreneur Author Program. And then we're going to hear a little bit about DJ Shaheem. So we'll be right back with more of Books and Besties. Please allow us to introduce you to one of the graduates of our YUP program.
Hi, I'm Sandra BEE. I live in Michigan. And yep, I'm an author.
YUP, Youth Entrepreneur Author Program. Our goal is to initiate literacy in students and lead them to entrepreneurship through authorship. Our mission is to identify and invite organizations to participate in this program. Students participate in virtual writing workshops where they are encouraged to write their stories and provide reviews of stories read. we ask you to support our youth. For a donation of only $50, your company or organization will be mentioned as a youth supporter in the next audiobook. Send an email to yup!'I'm-an-author@gmail.com to provide a scholarship for a young person to participate.
Yep, I'm an author.
Proceeds are accepted and disbursed by Angie BEE Productions. And now, these students are authors and entrepreneurs. Follow us online. Just search for Yup, I'm an Author on Facebook. Use the hashtag Yup, I'm an Author. Or call 407-914-6519. That's 407-914-6519 for more information. This program is sponsored in part by Angie BEE and Barty Productions.
Yep, I'm an author.
Hi, my name is Tina Batten, and I'm one half of the writing duo of the Prayer Warrior book. You'll hear me say our book because I'm referring to my co-author Tracy and I. Just a little bit about me. I'm a visual storyteller. I've been writing stage plays for over 20 years, screenplays since 2012, and now books. And what's so fascinating about the origin of this particular project is the backstory of writing this book. You take two longtime friends, sisters in the gospel. Me, a playwright and indie filmmaker. Tracy, a Christian romance novelist. So you have two authors working together on a project over 2 years, residing over 2,000 miles apart. Tracy on the West Coast, me on the East Coast. We came together to write one supernatural story of the Prayer Warrior. We can't wait for y'all to read this book. You hear me? You'll be in for quite the journey, seriously. The Prayer Warrior book is available where books are sold, and we released the audiobook version, and that's available where audiobooks are sold, including Audible. The best way to get your hands on our book is to visit our webpage, theprayerwarriorbook.com. Go over to our virtual bookstore and order as many copies as you like. You'll find promotions for groups and autographed signed copies. You can check out our interviews, nominations, awards. And for more information about me, you can go to Sister Batten, BATTEN, films with an S.com, sisterbattenfilms.com. And anyway, in the words of the main character of this phenomenal book, Miss B, I say, blessings be upon you. That's my time. God bless. Happy reading and enjoy.
DJ Shaheem Care Mix Edits. Explore innovative fusion music of hip-hop, house, Afro beats, and gospel genres all rolled into one perfect mix. Visit the world of a gospel praise experience as DJ Shaheem shares his new edit packs, filled with a remarkable experience. Enhance and elevate your worship experience through praise as we embark on a new and unique purpose to glorify Jesus and what he has been able to do in our lives. If you are looking for a different vibe in your worship and praise experience, this will definitely keep you moving and inspire you throughout your day and week. These mix and edit packs are not only for DJs and radio stations, but are meant for gospel music lovers as well. Take time out and visit DJ Shaheem Care Mix Edits for your music source. Support the ministry as we reach others and draw them closer to Christ. Stay blessed, safe, and encouraged. DJ Shaheem Mix Edits. .sellfy.store. Well, that's it for today's episode of Books and Besties. We'll bring Avalon back in case she has any final remarks. Avalon, what'd you think of the show today?
Today, I enjoyed the show so much today.
Yeah, it was nice.
Oh, such wonderful guests, yes.
Thank you so much for organizing them. I appreciate you.
Anytime.
Well,
You're
we
welcome.
got some last minute shout outs. Shakana is having a birthday this weekend. And so I want to say congratulations. And my very first intern, Angelin, is having a birthday next week. And so we're thrilled to be able to love on both of them as they love on us for the show. So thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. All right, we're going to head out of here. If it's the Lord's will, we'll be back on another Saturday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. with Books and Besties. Thank you, Avalon. Much
You're
love to
welcome.
you. All
You
right.
too. Have a great weekend.
All right. Bye-bye.